it will not...
It just blows your mind when you stop and think about the way that they are treating people down here much better than they would be treated in our federal prison system.
That's Oklahoma Senator Jim Inhofe talking about the military detention facility at Guantanamo Bay. Monday's visit there was his third since the 9/11 attacks. Inhofe has been a vocal critic of President Obama's plans to close down that prison. He has just introduced legislation to keep it open and prevent GTMO detainees from being transferred anywhere within the continental United States. Senator Inhofe, a Republican from Oklahoma, a senior member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, joins us now. Just back from GTMO, and you have introduced this legislation. You think that President Obama was a little hasty in calling for the closure of that facility?
Well, I think that giving credit, he's got a lot of things on his plate right now, and the whole idea of closing Guantanamo Bay, his statement came out, he stated two things. First of all, he wanted to suspend legal proceedings. Now, the judge down there, you noticed, said, no, we're not going to do it. That's kind of a classic separation of powers, because we've got to continue prosecuting these people. Some of the people now being prosecuted are people like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the brain power behind 9/11, and all the co-conspirators in that. And the other thing he said, close it in 12 months. Well, this is something, honestly, John, cannot happen. Because if you close it, what are you going to do with two groups of people? One is there are 245 people still down there, detainees. Of those, there are 170 that their countries won't take them back. Of the 110 are really hardened terrorists, and so we have to do something with them. There are only three choices: either keep them there, execute them, or just turn them into our federal court system. And that's a kind of a scary thought. So, and then also, as you know, the surge is coming up right now in Afghanistan, and while we can incarcerate people in places like Bagram in Afghanistan, if they're not from Afghanistan, they have to go somewhere else. Like if they're from Yemen or from Saudi Arabia, the only place you can put them right now is in Guantanamo Bay. And there has not been any kind of torturing or any kind of abuse of these people, these detainees, since 9/11.
Well, I know that there are discussions about housing them at military facilities like Fort Sill in your state of Oklahoma, or maybe Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. What do you think about those prospects?
Well, that's awful. I mean, you know, all of a sudden we'd become, wherever that is, we'd become victims, or we'd have terrorist attacks or threats and all these things happening. We don't want it on continental United States. And right now, it's in a very convenient place. And by the way, for those people who are watching us now, who have bought into this idea that somehow there's been abuse, it's just amazing. The health care these guys have down there, the food that they have, the conditions, even the real hardened criminals down, or the hardened terrorists down there, are people who have recreation areas, 6 hours a day, all these things. So I have not ever seen a prison facility in the United States of America that treats people better than they're treated down in Guantanamo Bay. They're just not, they're just not a choice in this case. I know it's popular to say you got to close it. This all began with Abu Ghraib and alleged abuses and all that. But that was not in GTMO. So this is something we really have to keep open.
Senator, before I let you go, I have to ask you about the situation, your feelings on this stimulus bill. Some of your fellow Republicans are saying it's an anti-stimulus bill because there's too much pork in it. Do you think it will come out of the Senate in a form that's similar to what President Obama says he wants?
Well, let me first of all just say I'm so proud of the Republicans in the House of Representatives. It's the first time in my memory that all of them got together and did the right thing. I would like to see that happen in the Senate. Here's the problem that you have with it, John. There's nothing in here that stimulates. The total amount, there are two tax provisions having to do with depreciation that could offer a stimulant. That's about 2.5% of the total amount of money we're talking about. Then secondly, only about 3.5% will go to doing roads and highways and things that will produce jobs immediately, and the rest are just spending things. So I would say this: I'm proud of the president who has said that we want Harry Reid to consider all the Republican amendments. I have the Republican amendments to try to make it into something that's, we know what stimulates. We did that during the John Kennedy administration, during the Reagan administration, but this is not a stimulant bill, but it's a huge, huge spending bill.
Senator James Inhofe, Republican of Oklahoma. Thank you.
President Obama